Hi everyone, delonewolf here, and welcome to another Eve talk. First of all, if I sound a bit tired, it's because I am. Last night's roam with the Blackthorn Alliance was a lot of fun, pretty successful in my opinion, but this did last until 3 AM. So I'm still pretty tired, didn't get much sleep, but with patch 1.2 that has been deployed this week, I think it's pretty important to have a look at the markets. So we're going to do that. Some stuff probably will have moved quite a bit, and we'll keep an eye of the bug on the Concord. If Concord pops up, there was a serious bug where all the letters were just J's or G's or something like that. It was a pretty funny screenshot I saw on Reddit. Anyways, we're here for the markets, and this is changing a little bit because of the new way searches will work here. So I can just stay in one window. It's probably pretty nice. So let's start off with titanium. Back up a little bit, maybe 6 almost 7 ISK at the tail end. This is the 1 year chart though. Let's have a look at the 3-month chart. That's pretty flat, and as you can see, the data points, they keep going above and below the green line that's hovering at maybe 680, something like that, I would say. So it's still pretty stable. The last week was maybe a bit higher than 1 or 2 weeks before that, but overall pretty stable. Let's have a look at what's happening in the station. 697, yeah, a little bit higher than last week, and buyer 680. So there's maybe a little bit of margin there, but not a lot, and it's pretty stable. Pyrite should be pretty much the same, yeah, and it's the exact opposite of titanium when it comes to the data points. A few of them are a bit below, so I expect that pyrite's pretty stable, but slightly lower than last week, but all well within normal variations. 1218 for the sellers and 1252 for the buyers. And let's have a look at Mixalon, which has the exact same chart as pyrite, really. Slight downtrend, but pretty stable, just above 60 ISK. And the market data 57.94 for the seller. So yeah, it's going down a little bit on Mixalon, so that's interesting. And 57.25, no margin in there whatsoever. So Mixalon going down a little bit. That's pretty interesting. It's tied a little bit to tier 3 production, because they have a lot of Mixalon used in there compared to the other ships. So that's pretty interesting. I'm going to have a quick look at the Talos, since I had started about I talked a bit about industry in the previous video, and the Talos is the one new market that I jumped in, which is down a little bit as well, although still above 80 million on the green line. Data points just below 80 million. So that's still a very decent price if you have a research BPO of a Talos. Yeah, practically 80 million and 72 million for the buyers. So that's 7 million to 8 million margin there. That's above 10%. That's actually pretty decent. Makes me want to look at the Tornado as well. 73 for seller, 71. That's a much lower margin than the Talos. That's pretty amazing, actually. Now I want to check the other ones as well. So let's have a look at the Oracle. That one's 80 million, pretty much the same, and 77.5 million. Wow, I'm amazed that the Talos is the one with a larger margin. That's pretty lucky there, actually. The Naga is the Caldari one. What's that? 74. 68.5. So yeah, the Talos, amazingly enough, is the one with a decent margin there for some trading. That's pretty interesting. but a slight downtrend, I would say, for these tier 3 battle cruisers overall. So that's good news for those that want to fly them, which they are very popular for roams and solo PvP. So that's good news for the availability there. Probably gonna be some summer price corrections there. We still see the downtrend in the tier 3 market, although right now I do have some data points above the green line in the last week. So it looks like we might see a stabilization. Tengu's 214.5 for the sellers, 207 for the buyers. So that's 7.5 margin, but yeah, it's more than twice as expensive as a Talos. So yeah, it looks like you might be able to make some trade stuff in Talos. And yeah, now I have to look where the plex is at. There we go, 30-day pilot's license extension. And it swings on the uptrend. Wow, data points above 490 million. We were at like 485, something like that last week. The green line is trending up. 495, 700 sellers in station 488. So yeah, if you had bought a few plex last week, you would already have probably made close to 10 million per plex, potentially. Keep in mind, potentially. It's nothing is certain in the markets. But it looks like people are starting to buy, and if you look at the 1 year chart, I think a lot of people are indeed expecting that this 480, 475, 480 is probably going to be the new floor for plex, considering the current state of EVE Online in general. We'll have to see if this uptrend continues. Pretty interesting. Let me quickly get my list and see if there was anything else of interest. Of course there are the Mackinac and the other mining ships. How could I forget? And that's quite a different chart. Unbelievable how high that went. Let's have a look. 280 million for the sellers, 287 even. There's just 5 more left at that price. 263 million for the buyers. So that's a very high volatility, incredible rise in the price there. I mean, that's the 1 year chart, but let me quickly take the 3-month chart here. From 150 at some data point to almost 300 million at some data point. That's doubling in price. If you had bought Mackinac on the rumors of the upcoming mining ship changes, you would have made so much cash. And I doubt it. If I wanted to, I bought a couple drakes and stuff. Damn it, that was quite a missed opportunity. I heard in the Alliance that the Retriever has a pretty similar chart. There you go, from 10 million normal price, no, even below that, maybe 8 to 9 million normal price. Data points close to 20 million. Let's have a look at the prices. 18,500,000, almost 600,000, and they come from 8 million. That's more than doubling of the price in the Retrievers. If I'm not mistaken, the cost in producing them has gone up substantially, but the doubling, unbelievable. If you had bought Retrievers before all the rumors of these changes, you would have made so much money. That's unbelievable. You could have doubled your money. Invest 1 billion, make 1 billion. That's unbelievable. Now the Hulk is probably going to be somewhat different. There we go. Downtrend. It's the corrupt data point though that's making the red part down this sharply. But yeah, demand for Hulks is drying up. I think we've seen it as high as 280 right here at the beginning, and now they're down to 224, 170 for the buyers. That's a big margin. That's a 54 million ISK margin on the 220 million ISK ship. That's a pretty big margin, and we actually saw the same with the Mackinacs. I'm going to check out the skiff right now. Actually, 190 million for a skiff 174, 164 for the buyer. So what does the chart look like? Yeah, it's it's not as pronounced as the Mackinac, which is really the amazing an amazing chart, because it's also a very high priced ship. So in order for it to have such a sharp chart rise, that means the price must have exploded. We're talking about trillions of ISK in that market. The most potential probably in the Retriever, which more than doubled. But this is a very volatile market at the moment, and it's where you can, if you're willing to risk your ISK, there's definitely money to be made in there. There will be people trying to sell on sell orders. And also other people that will want to unload, that have really invested heavily in buying them. So you could pick up some buy orders there and then put them up on sell orders. It's a very active and volatile market where there's definitely trading money to be made in there. Pretty interesting. This is why it's very important to keep an eye on patch notes and on upcoming changes. The potential for some serious money making in the market really exists here in EVE. I'm pretty sure that there's people that have gathered a fortune in with these changes. So anyways, that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time.